What is up, everybody? Brett here, and we're back in Kingdom Rush HD, the PC version of the mobile port of Kingdom Rush by Ironhide Studios. And we're going to be jumping back here today. I think this is episode 6, and we're moving into a new zone here with a totally different aesthetic, leaving the ice area. Last time, where we left off, we had just finished Stormcloud Temple. And I want to go into it real quick to show you guys something. This was bothering me, so I went ahead and looked it up. And I had mentioned in the last episode that I felt like this object here was supposed to be interactive, and that was totally the case. I read up on it, and in some of the ports and in some of the versions of this game, for whatever reason, perhaps it was a little bit too flashy and some of the mobile devices couldn't handle it. But for whatever reason, they decided to port this game over to PC and not include some of the more interactive elements of the game. So in the past, you were able to pay for these little sorcerer guys who would stand here, and it would shoot like sun rays at people, and it was very cool. And little touches like that are what made me fall in love with the game in the first place. So hopefully not too many of those features have been removed, and certainly not from the next two games. I hope that all of those remain in place. I was also able to finish off the heroic challenge for Icewind Pass. So let's jump in here and I'll briefly show you what my build ended up being. So this was my starting build, something like that, and placing my units just so. And to cover the flyers, these three ended up being enough, as well as a unit of barbarians with throwing axes. The triple dwarven bombards ended up being sufficient to cover for the AoE, and once I was able to, these were upgraded with mage towers, all the way upgraded to arcane. And yeah, I didn't bother with the 400 gold Yeti here. I left him there, and I focused on getting my DPS high enough to burst down the trolls once they started coming. So I was able to do it on my first try. I know I struggled a little bit on camera, but that's how it is sometimes with these games. You put it down for a while and you come back to it and then you just nail it. Playing for too long can kind of give you visors, you know, like you kind of have a blind spot for a good build. You kind of focus too hard on one build that you think is the best, and then you come back to it, you look at the same map differently, and you see a better way to do it. So today is also going to be the first time you guys get to see Magnus Spellbane, and we can read his bio real quick. It says, unleash the arcane forces of Laneria, let loose a mystical storm, and spellbind your enemies with his arcane arts and thirst for knowledge. So his special abilities are Mirage and Arcane Storm. I've played with him once before, and he is pretty powerful. He does have teleportation, which lets him get around the map quite quickly. His ranged power is pretty decent. We don't want him taking hits, which his Mirage helps with, and he has almost no physical capabilities. But the Magical Storm is a very strong AoE, and I think it's going to come up pretty big on this map. So the map is the Wastes, and let me read the campaign blurb to you guys. We have arrived at the dreadful realm of Valor Duel. This is a barren and forsaken land, where the wretched souls of the departed find no solace. Pray to the gods that this place does not take its toll on your men's spirit. So, to battle. And alright, so we unlock a new tower, and this is one of my favorite towers in the game. The Tesla 104, Dwarven engineering at its finest, harnessing the power of 1,000 thunderstorms. Who shall we aim it at? Shoots bolts of lightning that can strike multiple ground and flying enemies. So, for any of you who ever played any RTSs or anything, anytime you see a Tesla tower, you know there's going to be a chain lightning effect. And that's exactly what this is. Its ability to hit flying sets it apart from some of the other ground towers. The other Dwarven Bombard Tier 4 variation. So let's get 2 of these here. And we're going to seek to upgrade both of these to the Tesla towers. And here, I think we're going to take advantage of this to get our barracks. And let's place it right about there. And we can get a mage tower here. And perhaps even another mage tower. And maybe look to turn this into a ranger tower for its poison and rooting capabilities. Using these outside lanes here for barracks. Thinking of making these into the sorcerer towers, just to provide the golems to help us block up this area. Very crucial to this map is this graveyard, which is going to continuously summon skeletons or zombies. I believe it's skeletons in this version, to try and get to our endpoint here. So having the AoE and some stalwart defenders is really going to help. And we have 2 lanes here incoming to this 1 lane. And if they're bringing brigands here, I have to imagine that there's going to be a lot of heavy armor. So just getting double mage tower might be effective, and we can seek to upgrade this early so that it's able to have the impact that we want it to with its poison and such. And it's tempting to get some more AoE here. My only hesitation is that there's not a great place to put another barracks. Very good places for dwarven bombards, but not great places for more barracks. So let's get this rolling. And we'll see if they start coming out on the first wave. I'm not sure if they do. But we want to get Magnus leveled. And if you're going just a short distance, he does walk. But if you're going a farther distance, he does teleport. So here we go, some skeletons. I'm not sure how calling early affects the skeletons. That would be worth knowing. So you're already seeing his Mirage. And I don't think his Mirage shoots. I do think that it does absorb damage. Let's call early and see how that works. And we're going to get a barracks here. Place it here at the kind of confluence of all of these different towers. And we're going to look to upgrade one of them. I want to make sure our hero is firing here. And we can upgrade. Probably looking to make this a paladin and make this a barbarian. And here we can go ahead and spend a bit. Let's get ourselves a little bit of a front line here for Magnus. We can call early. These skeletons do have 120 HP and 10 to 20 damage, so they're not pushovers. We can't just ignore them. And I think we're going to rain of fire here. And depending on which side is looking the worst, we can always change up. Oh, there we go. There's his magical storm ability. But we can always change up Magnus's placement if we're getting overwhelmed by skeletons. Now here we're going to have flyers. And I'm not sure if we're quite well off enough with our ranged ability. But Magnus is certainly going to help with that. And we can teleport him here. And let him help. And if we have to, we will call down fire, but we did not have to, thankfully. And Magnus's magic damage, we can look at his damage here, 15 to 45. As he levels, it's going to get pretty strong. And we can leave him down here with the heavily armored guys. So Demon Spawn is a new enemy. Terrible infernal creatures that explode when they die, damaging nearby soldiers. They have magic resistance, and they do explode when they die, infernal combustion. So physical towers are going to be great against them. Even soldiers are good against them, but they do need to be upgraded. We need to make sure our soldiers are strong enough. I don't know what the damage is on that explosion, but paladins should be able to resist these guys. Let's bring down Magnus here. His magic isn't going to do great damage versus these guys, and his magical storm is kind of like a mini rain of fire for us. We can upgrade our dwarven artillery, and we really want to get the Tesla tower. I mean, it's super powerful. So here we go. We have an extra mirage here, and it does seem like it does maybe a fraction of his damage. That would be worth knowing. A musketeer tower would be excellent here as well, and maybe we could... Yeah, that might be better, getting a musketeer tower here, and maybe making one of these a ranger tower. If you've been watching the series, you do know that I prioritize the ranger tower for its ability to get that poison going early. Oh, here we go. This is a stronger skeleton warrior, 500 HP and double the damage. So that's worth knowing. Let's shore up our air defense here. And it's even probably a good time to call early. I think we're doing fine. And we want this to be a sorcerer mage, because we do want these golems. We at least want one elemental. And our little reinforcement guys are quite strong now. We can drop some fire. Clear up that wave. If I remember right, the Tesla Tower doesn't have the best range. I'm not sure if it's one of the few towers in the game that actually shrinks its range as it's upgraded. And that's just because its effect is so powerful. Let's call early. And here we go, another new enemy, the Demon Lord. They lead the fiendish armies into battle, protecting their minions with infernal shields. Shields other demons, magic resistance, infernal combustion. Same as the other guys. Bigger, stronger, a lot more damage, a lot more health. But they do bring invulnerability. So you want to have some sort of high damage to take them out, so that you can get rid of these shields on these little guys. And they do have to be close. You see there he cast it, and he only hit these two, so we want to target him. Unfortunately, no one's hitting him right now. Let's get him there and just drop some fire on him. The fire is going to stay on the field, and it's going to kill these wolves. Magnus does a great job taking out these skeletons. And here we go, another new enemy, the Demon Hounds. Vicious, terrible creatures, they serve as hunting dogs for the Demon Lords. More magic resistance, more infernal combustion, and fast speed. So let's look at their stats. 350, 20, 40 damage. So they're much stronger than the wolves, and they do have magic resistance. So all this magic resistance is telling me is that we need to hurry up and get to this Tesla. And you'll see here it does shrink the range. The Tesla is going to do great against the skeletons. Unfortunately, all that infernal damage is killing off our footmen. And it also killed Magnus, so we can keep him a little further back. He doesn't have to be right in the front there. And we can use this little trick to separate these guys. Hopefully get our units firing. Let's bring Magnus down. He's up to level 8, so so his ability should be pretty strong. And we don't need that much more to get this Tesla tower. And we'll almost certainly want to make these Tesla towers as well if we can. Or maybe make this one a Big Bertha. So here we go. Achievement unlocked specialist. And let's not forget, and of course, we teleported him right into an infernal explosion there, but not too bad. Let's upgrade these guys, make them knights. So the Tesla effect. These are incredibly powerful upgrades that we are going to want to get. Increase the number. So here we're hitting 3 units at a time, but we can get up to 4 and then 5. And that's certainly what we want to do. You've been thunderstruck. So a little bit of a flavored text there. Let's get Magnus down here. Very effective. And we do want to get these. They get much cheaper as you upgrade it. I want to say the first one is 187, and then after that it's just a fraction of that. And it's exactly what it sounds like, but it's just kind of an AoE that'll hit units here, and it's very good at clearing out these skeletons and units like these wolves and wargs. Musketeer is doing fine. We're a little short on gold to get all of the things that we want to do, but we're doing okay. Would really love to get up to paladins here and berserkers here. And I think if I'm going to rush one, it's going to be the berserkers for their DPS and their ability to, let's say, units make it past here. They'll be able to throw their axes and catch the wave that way. So let's look to prioritize that. Move Magnus out of the way of that explosion. Call early. And boom, we've got berserkers. And we can bring him down here quite easily to harass. Being mobile with these guys is part of their strength. We can just straight up kill him. Boom. He's not even going to get here to cause problems. We can bring him back. You'll see there, it does... They do damage. The mirages do. So it's worth noting. It would be nice to get some of these musketeer upgrades, but we're just low on cash. And what these guys' explosions kind of prompt you to do is to make sure you're always staggering your soldiers. You're not just trying to put them all on top of each other. Even having your recruits out front can make a big difference. The last thing that you want to have happen is you lose your hero and your entire front line all at once because you stack them perfectly on top of each other. That's no good. So maybe let's get our elemental here. Tons of magic damage coming in. This is lowering armor for us. Let's give the elemental to this side. The beautiful thing about this position is if we wanted to bring the elemental here, it would also work. So as they kind of rotate which sides are getting which enemies, we can do the same thing. So we can just bring him here. And he'll be an excellent backline for the range damage of these berserkers. So Magnus now level 10, which is great. And we can do this little trick again. I'm not sure if he's able to provide the shield while he's engaged in melee. That'd be worth knowing. But we took him out. So here we go, more flyers. And for being demons, they do take a lot of damage from fire. So let's call these flyers. I'm not scared of them at all. Tesla towers do hit air, so it's very worth noting. And let's get at least one stack of overcharge. And proccing their turbo early will make them much slower when they finally arrive here. We can just upgrade this. I believe they do have... No, they don't have any armor. It's kind of surprising. I would have expected them to have at least low armor. But we could even go for an arcane wizard here. Just for some big damage. And I do value teleportation pretty highly. Or we could simply get another sorcerer mage. Move these gentlemen back a tad. And we can look to get another elemental and use him in this position. And I think that'll be pretty powerful. And you'll see the static that went off there. And it's very low damage, but against lots and lots of wolves and skeletons and things. I mean, it's a achievement unlock AC/DC. It's very good AoE damage. We can bring Magnus here to help us burn down these very powerful Black Knights. Or Dark Slayers, rather. Kind of tier 4 version. We can get some paladins. They should be very resilient to the explosions. And if we give them some heals... My thought process right now is that it could be a bit of a waste to try and upgrade a front line here that will just die to these major explosions. But anyway, let's get that ranger tower we were talking about early on. Bring Magnus down here to kill these fools. We don't need shadow archers messing up our strategy. And I think all of our towers here are going to do quite well at holding them back. And diversifying your towers is kind of one of the hidden strengths in the game. Having lots of different abilities that overlap to great effect. Magnus gets taken out by these guys, no big deal. We'll just get them off the field. They are quite annoying. We'll get some poison, and we'll get Wrath of the Forest, which would also be very strong against these skeletons. Another achievement, Medic. We can look to get one stack of Wrath of the Forest. Here I'm feeling pretty confident. I think we're going to call the wave early once again. We can get overcharge all the way, and you'll notice it procs every single time they attack. And it's not nothing. I mean, at level 3, it's on average 20 damage. And you'll see these guys are just melting here. We could do another Paladin Berserker combo here. We'll put them in range back there. And give them some upgrades. And if we start worrying about this position, I would pretty quickly upgrade one of these two. Let's nuke them in their armor. And then we can bring Magnus over here. And let's just get a Big Bertha. Big Bertha is also very good at clearing out huge clumps of enemies. Once you get Cluster Launcher and the Dragon Breath Launcher, yeah, doing great. Let's get the cluster and then get the other. We're on the last wave, so I'm not worried. But good map to showcase, and if this went on much longer, I would have prioritized this as well. And I would have upgraded these guys to another Paladin Barbarian combo. And I think you see kind of the general path to this and the synergies that work. Alright, so we did it. 3 stars. And we should have 4 stars in the bank. We've unlocked another hero. Cool. Let's check out our upgrades. So I'm looking at this real hard. We can only get one of something unless we want to reset and try and figure something different out. This is huge for our Tesla towers. This turning all of our mage towers into slow towers, which if you're familiar with tower defense games, a lot of times there's like a frost tower or some ice tower that causes a slowing effect, and this gives that to all of our mage towers, which is huge against very powerful single target. These are all very valuable. I'm just going to take advantage. I don't feel like resetting. Let's just get Spear Throw. So now our guys are Legionnaires who can also hit flying enemies, and we could prioritize placing them behind our weak barracks units. And they do a lot of damage. So let's see, hero unlocked, and it's Ignis, a guy I've never played with. He has no ranged ability at all, so that's worth noting. Super high health and melee damage, and he's very fast, so he might fly or teleport. Well, he wouldn't teleport because it's not maxed out, but he might fly. Let's read his bio. Burn the kingdom's enemies with the blaze of 1,000 stars. Forge victory in his raging flames, consuming evil in fire and brimstone. Surge of flame and flaming frenzy are his special abilities. Let's select him. I'm pretty eager to see what he does. And let's look at the next level so I can remember Forsaken Valley. Okay. This is a bit tougher of a level. Let's see our upgrades here. If we do both of the special challenges for the last level, we can get endurance training, which might be beneficial, which will certainly be beneficial before we go on to this much harder level. So I think we're nearing the end of the base game's missions, but I know that there are a lot more missions after the fact that we can do. I think after this there's one more, maybe 2 more maps. So let's take advantage and get, and obviously look how many stars there are. So even though we've maxed all these out, we're not even halfway to getting the stars. So of course there are a lot more missions. So let's try and do these. And I like to do the iron first. So no AoE towers. We're not going to have our dwarven bombards. Let's jump in. Let's see how fast this guy is. Okay, he's super fast. But he doesn't fly or anything. Looks kind of silly. Look at his stats. 400 HP, decent damage, no armor. Okay. Let's see here what kind of enemies we should be expecting. So knowing that half the units here explode is worth noting. And we might do something very similar to what we did before.
Dodge this like a charm for honor and glory.
And they have quite high magic resistance, so let's not focus too hard on that.
Archers ready? Bullseye. Might and magic.
Maybe do something like this. And this position, if we needed to, we could reinforce here. Let's play them back and stagger them. Play these guys kind of in the cradle of these three towers here. And it gave us a lot of starting gold, which sometimes is an indication that you want to go for quality over quantity. But we'll see how that works out. Let's do that. And also look to get the Ranger Tower online again soon. Let's call them and see what we get. And we'll use these guys here. We won't have the spears yet because of the limitations on the upgrades. Let's see how he performs. These bandits are going to hurt him, but we need to get him leveled. He might be good just to leave in the front line here. He leveled and healed up, which is good. Good timing. And I think we're going to rely on something like Shrapnel Shot and Paladins for our AoE clear. I think that could be very important. And I think we need him here. Maybe we even need another. Let's see what we can do. Let's bring them down. And another Musketeer garrison. Now we spent 300 on the Shrapnel Shot, so we want to get our value from that. Hopefully we do, because 300 is a lot. I mean, that's another upgraded tower. We don't want to kill our hero on these guys. And I haven't been watching him very well. I'm still not seeing his abilities. So he did that. That was like an AoE, kind of charged up. And he does this kind of cool little rolling move. I'm not sure if he's avoiding damage when he does that. It's hard to tell. Let's bring him back, let him heal. And these Shrapnel Shots could be huge for us. And we definitely want the AoE from the Ranger Towers as well. Let's get him back in there. He's fully healed. Yeah, let's quickly get to a Ranger's hideout. And look to prioritize Wrath of Nature. Are they as high up as they can be? They were close. And he's just in the graveyard fighting skeletons. So level 6, let's take a look at his stats. 550 health, good damage. He may just be a slightly more powerful Malik. But his ability to kind of, as soon as he kills an enemy, he can roll on to the next guy. That's pretty strong. It means there's very little time wasted DPS wise, which is kind of the problem with melee heroes, that you're not constantly microing. That can be a problem with them. And let's get Barbarians before we get Wrath of the Forest. That's just a lot of gold commitment. And I think we really do want their throwing axes. Let's move these guys back a little further so we can move them back. Maybe not that far. Their range isn't that good. But we do want them to still be able to hit top lane. We're controlling everything pretty well. There's quite a few different ways we could go with our upgrades. Hero is level 8. Yeah, strength is just getting better and better. And no doubt his abilities are going to do more damage. I'd be interested to know what the cooldowns on their abilities are, if they're somewhat universal or not. So here we can get Wrath of the Forest and Poison, and I think that's going to be fine. We're going to start mixing in the stronger skeleton warriors, and we're going to want the extra AoE. Shrapnel shot might also be good on the second tower. It is more damage just straight up, and it's good AoE. I mean, we could just park him here and have him handle skeletons. I mean, I don't think that's bad, but he does. He zips around. We can't really control him. We can upgrade this as well, potentially getting either another sorcerer tower to potentially get another golem if we need it, or an arcane wizard just for the super high damage. Let's drop some fire here. I have lost levels before back in the day to these demon lords making these guys invulnerable, and they just barely get past you and get all the way to the end, and that's super frustrating. We don't need that. So there we go. I generally don't like upgrading towers that are not doing something, and at this point this tower isn't doing anything, it's just way in the back. But if we do leak, it's in the perfect position to handle that. Right now we're able to hold with our hero and our summons. Our hero is quite strong. I still value the versatility of ranged heroes more, I would say. Here we can get some barbarians, stand them behind this group here, and then we can upgrade these guys to barbarians as well. If we make it to that point, we have the gold. Just nuke these guys. Getting kind of dangerously close to getting past. Get some knights here. And their position is pretty crucial. I want to back them up, make sure they're in range. That's okay. That's decent. Just constantly kind of evaluating where our weak spots are. We could also get sniper shot here to deal with these lords, but I think with some appropriate focus they won't be an issue. And Ignis looks like he's going to do a ton of damage to them. Yeah, I figured he was going to die there as we exploded all of those dudes at once. Some paladins, and they're also good with their AoE. So on this Iron Mode challenge, you want to look and see like what they're taking away from you and how you can compensate. So taking away our ability to do AoE damage tells me right off the bat that we need to look at other forms of AoE. And the paladins are great for that, the ranger towers are great for that, shrapnel is good for that. So that's helping us to learn the game better. And I don't remember, if you get more axes, I don't remember if they actually throw 2 axes. They might. And we got him out of there just in time to not die. And let's just rain some fire on these guys. Bring Ignis back in. They do so much damage and they attack so fast. Just need to kill them. Any minute now. Get sniper shot. Maybe we'll get lucky and take him out. If he was standing under this, he would have lower armor and he'd be dying much faster, but there we saw a shrapnel blast go off. Come on, buddy, it's over. Go to sleep. And there we go. So a star for us. And just some meandering skeletons. Get rid of them. Okay, that should be it. And victory. Cool, cool. And it did let us use our hero, which is worth noting. So we can use our heroes in these. Alright, I think Ignis is okay. Let's do like a throwback. Let's get Illyria Swiftwind here. See how she does. And because we're able to use tier 4 upgrades, we want to make use of that. Just get tier 4 on everything. And we still have 3 left over. It absolutely doesn't matter. Because I'm pretty sure we can't use past tier 4. Okay. Let's try and knock this out. And go into the next stage with 2 extra stars worth of upgrades. See, are they doing anything different? Demon spawns, bandits. Okay. So, it's looking like the same drill. And let's see.
For honor and glory, for the king. Have at thee.
Pop down a couple of these. Grab one of these.
Might and magic.
And 2 of these. One here.
And glory for the
Okay.
king.
And I think that should be fine. And we can just look to upgrade here
Get some. Charged and ready.
right off the bat.
Ride the lightning.
Let's see how that does.
Swift like the wind.
And we can look to reinforce her on this side. This is pretty weak. And this should be enough damage to kill these demons, as well as enough AoE to take out the skeletons. Yeah, I mean it pretty much passively takes out the skeletons.
Freedom.
Don't want her fighting bandits, not at level 2.
Calm and careful.
Archers ready.
See how this goes. They're gonna just keep killing our guys here. No surprise. We're gonna leak a bit here, but I'm not super worried about it, because if we have to, we can rain a fire. In fact, I think we just call early.
Ride the lightning.
This could be a mistake here. We can sell this and get another Dwarven Bombard. Bring this down, just like we did in the last one. And she's got her little Wildcat, so it's going to be helping us block up the ground here. Doing just fine. And we could lock this area down pretty much permanently by rushing another one of these, but then we might be weak on this side. Let's take a more balanced approach. We can get another musketeer here. Illyria's level 5, good.
Give me a target.
Our little buddies keep dying with their low health. Let's get that musketeer tower. Upgrade these guys. They might survive an initial explosion now. Yes, and they do. Really don't want Illyria fighting in melee.
Swift.
And yeah, that's just good damage. I mean, they're even getting hit by the static effect. Make sure the Wildcat's always in the fight. It's a good damage dealer. Call him a bit early. Need to upgrade this tower for it to even have any effect on the battle at all. It's in a pretty sweet placement here. Once it's upgraded, it'll be able to hit this entire sector. So we need to prioritize upgrading it, and it'll give us that armor debuff that we need to get through those Dark Slayers should they become a problem.
I'll be careful.
Make sure Illyria is always firing. Want to level her so her Wildcat's better, so her multi-shot's better. And there we go. That'll also help if they start sending air against us, which could be annoying. But these towers, let us not forget, they're also good against air. Shore up our ground game, let Illyria keep firing. And you'll see these chaff units, once you have this upgraded, chaff units just can't get by. These low health units, I mean 35 health, that just melts to the static. And I'll rush this pretty fast, the double upgrade, so that it hits 5 targets. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory why. I'm just gonna get another Tesla. It's cheaper than Big Bertha, but it should be good. And here we can get another Mage Tower. I'm looking at these Dark Slayers, and I definitely fear them more than the Demon Lords. Also, getting poison down here would be great. If I hadn't just placed this, I would probably try and rush a Ranger Tower. So, bigger, stronger cat. And we've got these guys down here a bit low. We want them to fight within range of this. And there we go. That's much better. And let's look to get that Ranger Tower going. Don't want her fighting him. That's a mismatch. Yeah, once you have double static overcharge, you know, you're hitting 10 units at once. The area is on lockdown. And these will be sweet once they're slow towers as well. Call early once again.
If it bleeds, I can kill it.
Get the poison. And just checking out the damage here, I mean, it looks like it would be like a weaker effect, just because it's such a strong AoE effect, but it's 61 to 116 damage. And despite the sort of nerf to their range, the chain lightning, once it hits a target, it can go all the way back to here if they're standing close enough together, and you kind of saw that a second ago. So its range is deceiving. It can hit this guy as soon as it gets in range, and it will chain all the way down, well past its range. And we can clump these slayers up here and get them with a fireball. Wrath of the Forest, let's just nuke them. And I think we've got this well in hand. We're not done yet, but this is pretty close. Get some knights. They're actually doing some pretty serious fighting down here. So we could look to get paladins. And I think that's fine. And I don't think it's quite worth it to upgrade them when we have an empty tower back here that could potentially make the difference between us leaking or not.
Give me a target.
So let's focus on upgrading this to maybe an arcane wizard. It'll be a lot harder to leak if we have a tower back here that just does insane damage. Once again, it's kind of, at the moment, it would be a do-nothing tower, but it could very quickly become the thing that saves us. And on harder difficulty, you know, we are playing on normal, so let's not forget that. On a harder difficulty, every position matters so much, and you'll end up doing maps a lot over and over again to find the perfect build. We have a lot of unspent gold here. Let me just get these barbarians. Maybe look to upgrade our other Tesla. And I like getting the overcharge because it's going to hit these enemies as they run here, even if it's shooting. The AI in this game likes to focus on the units that are closest to the end. And I think it's pretty smart because, I mean, obviously you're shooting the ones that are leaking, but against very slow shooting projectiles, like on Big Bertha, sometimes you'll get one unit that gets way out ahead. That one projectile that you needed splash damage on hits that one unit instead of hitting the huge clump that's still back here getting fought. So sometimes AI sucks in that way, and I wish you could, in times of need, auto aim, but that's not the case. So it's actually quite positive that the skeletons get here, the AI switches to shoot them, but then the static is still hitting all of these demons as they run, putting them down to such low health before they even get into the fight. Make these guys some barbarians. And our hero is max level. Doing some work. Let's just clear those guys out. Yeah, so much AoE damage just wrecking these guys. Let's give him some Holy Strike. By holy fire be purged. That sounds like a Warcraft 3 thing, something the Paladins would say. And that's probably where that's from, if I had to guess. Let's get throwing axes on our barbarians. And we can bring these guys over here to help fight. There's no way I'm gonna leak here. Not happening. Not after all that talking I did. I'm not doing that again. And we end this with just a ton of gold. Could get teleportation there to bring enemies that have managed to escape further back down the path. Alright, so let's reconfigure our upgrades again. To make sure we're getting the things that we want. And I think this is fine. And for our next map, I'm trying to remember what hero worked best. I do love having ranged, so maybe Magnus will be great again, but we can always try. Let's go all the way back. Let's get Sir Gerald Lightseeker and see how he does. Let's select him. And I'm looking at the time here. We're closing in on an hour, so I don't think I'm going to jump into this next level today. Maybe save it for tomorrow and look to maybe do this and spare you guys some of the heroic iron challenges and get into the next, what is I think the final level of the story elements. And I think once you get down into here, this is kind of like where the map picks up into the second game, Frontiers. So I hate to leave you guys here before we get a chance to do Forsaken Valley, but I think that's what I'm going to do. An hour is plenty, and tomorrow we'll be back for another hour-long video. So once again, guys, my name is Brett. My channel is Good Talk Gaming. It's a new channel. It's very diverse in terms of the types of games that I play and that I want to play and put on this channel. So if you have any suggestions, please leave a comment, and I'll be sure to see it and respond. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you did enjoy it, and I will see you guys in the next one.